Hello, I'm back again. Did you miss me? So today we had like a double feature day because we are 5 weeks away, like I mentioned earlier, and we're trying to squeeze everybody in. And it's so hard because we're all so busy right now and everybody's schedules are so crazy. But today, so now we have Carrie Mallon coming on. She is a tarot reader. She is a creator of the Spacious Tarot. She will be presenting and she will also be vending. So we are excited to have her with us, and we will be chatting here in just a second. I saw you pop on. Hi, Carrie. Go ahead and hit the camera button to request to join, and we'll get you on. So we the Witches Market is Saturday night. The doors open at 6:30 at the Hawthorne. It is during our conference and it is free to the public. So we will have so many vendors. We are going to have a virtual DJ, which is just to save space so we can add more vendors. So I'm really excited about that. Our day passes our weekend pass is sold out, but we do have some day passes left. Hey, Carrie, how are you?
Hi, Jen. I'm doing so well. It's good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. I was trying to get all the housekeeping in before you popped on.
You've been busy. I know you were saying you already talked to someone this morning. We're getting so close to the event, so you're doing a lot, I know.
Yes, there's just like so many things. And I was talking to Monica earlier this morning, and I was telling her that like all of a sudden it just got really busy like everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like we are 5 weeks away from which city? Can you believe that? Like, it doesn't seem real. Like, I feel like it's like, oh, it's months away. It's months away. Now we are coming like down to the wire. So I'm excited though. It's going to be so awesome. So awesome. And so you will be presenting, you will also be vending. So why don't we just jump right in, and why don't you talk about what you'll be presenting for us?
Sure. Okay. I'm looking forward to the whole thing, seeing everyone, and of course presenting myself. My topic is about navigating reality with the four suits of tarot. So I think about navigating reality. It's like we're all just kind of thrust into this lifetime as human beings, and we don't really have an instruction manual for the most part. And we all kind of find things in life that help us make sense of what we're doing here and how we move through this world. And for me, tarot has really been one of those things that has just given me not really a precise manual, but it's given me some guidelines on how to make sense of this reality. In particular, I think in a lot of tarot texts and teachings, we pay a lot of attention to the majors, which I love, and that's amazing. But I love looking at this through the lens of the minor arcana, because I think of the majors as sort of these big sweeping like archetypical forces. Right. And then the minors are like, how do we actually make sense of that energy and move through the world? So with my talk, I'm really going to focus in on the four suits and talk about some frameworks and some ideas of what they represent in terms of like our psyche and how we process reality and how we make sense of the world. And then the biggest thing I think for me is like, how can we bring more intentionality to that instead of just like living on autopilot? How can there be a little more awareness of like, oh, I really want to draw more upon Wands energy right now, or like I could really use some Cups energy right now. I hope that makes sense.
It does make sense. No, I love that. And I think too, like you said, people tend to get lost in the majors, like, oh, the majors, but there are so many other aspects that you can tap into and harness the energy of, because, we aren't always doing huge, big things. We have our everyday lives and we have all of those little things happening. And sometimes those can be just as big as those super big events, or they lead to it, or it's like that segue to it. So I love that you're focusing on it. And, really going to help people kind of understand how to use those different suits too, right? For their best, for their best selves, really. And just to see how they can, be more mindful, and I think that's what it comes down to, is just that being mindful and knowing what's around you and how to use it, instead of, like you said, just going through the motions, like, all right, well, some of these little things are happening. how can I use that for me? Or maybe that's something I need to like kind of push aside. So I really do love that. And that's going to be super exciting. And, you know, we also have like a planchette parlor, which is kind of like a little community workspace downstairs in the Hawthorne. So, you know, I also, you know, I think that's going to be something too that people can go down and just talk about after your talk. So that's awesome as well. I love that.
Yeah, that would be really fun to have the opportunity to be more interactive with folks there.
Yes, and just to see people. Like it's so exciting just to be there with everybody. It's going to be so much fun. So much fun. So, and you are going to be vending as well. You are the creator of the Spacious Tarot, which I have and I absolutely love. Can you tell us a little bit about that deck and how you know, your creative process and all of that?
Yeah, actually, I'll kind of tie both together because so this is my deck, the Spacious Tarot, and I co-created this with the artist Annie Rugit. So I'll be vending and I'll have copies of the Spacious Tarot. And as I've been thinking about my presentation as well, I keep thinking about our version of the Magician because, you know, in most versions of the Magician, you have the 4 suits.
Right.
And one of the themes with the Spacious Tarot is we wanted it to have this immersive feeling. So you can almost, to me, when I look at this card, it's like I'm the magician and here are these 4 suits.
Right.
So
you can, like pluck them out of the card, right? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's just a little taste of the deck for people who maybe aren't familiar with it. But so I'll be at the Witches Market vending the deck, and then fingers crossed, I'm really hoping this works out. But Annie and I have been putting a lot of love and labor into creating an expansion pack for the Spacious Tarot.
Yay!
So they should be here. I'm really hoping I have some to bring to this event. And the expansion pack is based on an older system related to tarot called Minciati.
Yeah.
And it has cards for the 4 elements and the zodiac signs, and then a few additional cards as well. So hopefully I'll have the expansion pack as well, but I'll definitely be there with the Spacious Tarot for sure.
Oh, that's so exciting. I love that. Yay. So what made you decide to do this expansion pack?
So there is another indie deck that is sadly out of print, but it's called the Spolia Tarot. It was created by Jessica Crispin and Jen May. And I have that deck, and they included the those extra cards, and that's how I first got introduced to this idea of Minciati. And I was just like, this is so cool. I really like this. And I hadn't heard of it before that. And so I just kind of fell in love with that idea. And when Annie and I created the Spacious Tarot, we really felt like it was this energetic realm. And so after the tarot deck was complete and out in the world, we found ourselves like, what more can we do in this realm? So that idea just seems so natural. And we also loved calling it an expansion pack because it's like the Spacious Tarot and the expansion pack.
Right,
and
I know that fits like right along with it for sure.
Yeah.
Oh
so I'm very, very excited about that. It's creating a deck is a long process, and then now everything's so weird with like supply chains and trying to get decks to us has been an interesting journey, but hopefully they're close now.
Right. No, and I very much understand that. I'm creating a deck as well, about 3/4 of the way through, but like even just like diving into printers and stuff like that now, I'm just like, oh geez. Oh man, it's like a whole nother animal right now, like for sure, because you just don't know. Like it's just whenever it decides to happen, it happens, So it's very interesting. I mean, I think it's gotten a little bit better, but I think for the most part people have been really good about being patient. For the most part, and I think it's just one of those things now, like that's a new normal for us. Like we just have to be patient with, when we order, anything from indie creators that, it might take a little bit longer, but it'll be well worth it.
And you know what else is neat too? I'll try not to go on too much of a side tangent, but there's been such a movement of indie tarot, like people creating their own decks. And I found like other deck creators when I was where you were like so willing to talk to me. So if you have questions, let me know. I think there's even someone at this event is doing like a deck creation workshop at the event. That's a really cool thing too, just knowing that indie creators are like talking to each other and sharing information and like, supporting this whole movement of like, let's all create our own decks. It's great.
Right. No, and I love that too. And, you know, people, you know, I've run into some people like, there's so many decks out there. Why are you creating one? And I'm, you know, I'm actually creating two. So I'm creating one with, that's going to be Kickstarter. That's mine. And then I'm doing one with a Llewellyn. And it's like so different. Like it's two different like universes entirely. And, but I do, you know, my artist is fantastic for my deck, you know, my Kickstarter deck. And, you know, we are vibing so good and we're going, and it's great to share that with. And I appreciate you actually, you know, offering to, because I'm like talking to everybody I can talk to. I'm like, just tell me all the things, because there's so many things. There's so many things. But, you know, I love everybody's different interpretations, you know, and I feel that there's so many people out there and everybody's perspective is so different that everybody can find a deck they resonate with. And I think that is so important right now, as you know, just tarot reading and tarot practice in general is just so blossoming right now, because everybody kind of had time to dive into all those things when the world was broken. And, you know, and it just, you know, it's one of those things. It's like everybody, you know, my first deck was the Rider-Waite-Smith, and did I resonate with it? Not really, but that's what I had, right? Like that's what we had to start with. So it's great now that there's so many other ones that everybody can kind of pick and choose from and see what really works for them. Like I really do love that part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And even for people who don't have any interest of like creating an entire deck, it's sometimes nice to just think about like, how does the energy of this card feel to me? Or even like going back to what I'll be talking about in my presentation, just thinking about like what does Wands energy feel like to me? How does Cups energy feel to me? I use the word feel, which is kind of funny, but like how, you know, what's my relationship with that energy? And it can really help you just like bond with whatever deck you're using, even if you're not creating your own deck.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that too also helps people understand the cards better, get deeper readings, better readings, and that sort of thing. So, you know, and a lot of people too are very sensitive to colors. So like your deck is just so like the colors are just so soothing. You're just like, come on in, we're gonna just take a little ride. Like that's kind of what I get from it. And I, you know, there are people who need those kind of like more calming colors to dive in because it's a little scary for them. But other people are like, I want this like super loud deck, and it's like I want all of the crazy pictures because that's what, you know, resonates, and that's what helps me tap into my intuitiveness, you know. So it's exciting, and I love that, and that it's kind of part of why I'm a tarot collector. You know how I have a few decks, but I just love seeing everybody's perspective. And you know, I think for me too, also being a creator, and like I love reading the guidebooks, and I do a lot of reviews and stuff like that. So that's usually the first thing I go to before I even touch the deck, which is, you know, for a long time, I know a lot of people are like, put the book down, just grab the deck. And I'm just like, no, read the book. Like read the book, at least skim through it, because they're, you know, that person who wrote it, their insight, you know, it's there for a reason. And there might be something that might jump out at you that makes so much sense and can completely change how you read.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with you. I love reading guidebooks and just getting a feel for, because I think like when I first started reading tarot, I didn't realize that there's so many different ways of reading tarot and so many different styles that people have. So now that I've been at it for a while, it's really fun getting a new deck or a new book or whatever, and just kind of going into like, what is this person's perspective? How is their vision? Like, what is their style? And figuring out, you know, some might resonate more with me, some might resonate less, but I love that there's just like so many, it's not just like tarot is one thing. Like tarot is something different to every single person, which is really cool.
Right. No, it is really cool too. And, you know, even like, as like you said, you're going through a deck and you can, some resonate, some don't. But even the ones that don't, then I know that if I come across somebody like, oh my gosh, you know what? I know a perfect deck for you. And if I have it, I could gift it. And if not, or, you know, tell them to get it. So I feel like that kind of brings it all together for us. Like it's really cool. It's a really cool thing. And I'm excited to hear your presentation and meet you in person. Yay! I'm so excited. So can you just tell everybody where to find you on the internet?
Yes. So my website is carriemallon.com, and I don't blog super often anymore, but I do blog occasionally. And so those are on my website. And then the deck is the spacioustarot.com. And then obviously this is my Instagram account. I've actually been on a kind of like hiatus from Instagram for a while on this account. I might maybe start. I know, and now I'm like, maybe I might be ready because it's been like 6 months now, so I might start dipping back in. But I also run the account for the deck, which is at the Spacious Tarot, and I've been on a little break from that one too. But that one I'm definitely going to be posting on more. So those are the main places that I am present.
All right, perfect. So everybody make sure you visit her table at the Witch's Market and see what's going on. I hope, sending good vibes your way that the expansion pack makes it in time. And I look forward to meeting you. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us. And you guys all have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. Thanks, everyone.